We will have a moment of silent meditation, then pledge to the flag. Thank you.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. It is September 4th, 10 o'clock, and our thoughts and prayers are with those who are in the path of Hurricane Dorian. All three county commissioners are here, Tom Bloom, Ed Hawkins, Sean Sikora, and we will start with consents and approvals.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have 22 exonerations for $340,788.08. Minutes for May 29th, June 5th, June 12th, June 19th, June 26th. Vouchers for General County Fund, $279,876.18. Coal severance, $4,200. 911, 403. Chestnut Ridge Park, $636.67. Camp Muffley, $3,067.79. Mason-Dixon Park, $6,351.46. Assessor's valuation, $4,756.58. Purchasing card vouchers, General County Fund, $12,271.93. 911, $149.60. Camp Muffley, $9,983.58. For a voucher total of $321,696.79. Position vacancies for boards and authorities: the West Road Board of Zoning Appeals, the Mon County Planning Commission, Mon County Development Authority, Camp Muffley Advisory Board, and the Abandoned and Dilapidated Enforcement Agency. Fiduciary orders for September 4th, 2019, and we also have statement of services for George Armistead. Fiduciary Commissioner.
Move for approval.
Second.
Properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It passes. Okay. Move on. We have introduction of new employees, personnel changes. Mr. Robert Doyle, Mr. Harry Eldred.
Yeah, just here today to introduce and get your approval for Harry Eldred, fifth. He goes by Jack.
Jack, okay.
Yeah, so with your approval, Jack will be doing the recycling program on Saturday mornings, plus also hauling the recycled material from the Westover drop-offs down to the dump. And with your approval, it's $12 an hour on a 6-month probationary period with full benefits.
Sorry, I got ahead of you. Move for approval.
Second.
Properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I personally want to thank you for those who don't know, Harry took his own time. Jack, sorry. Jack took his own time last week and was working with the truck, all volunteer, so he was be prepared. And the action will start Saturday, where we'll work on
No, I think
recycling.
he started yesterday.
Yeah,
Started
he
yesterday.
started-
Oh, that's right, we
yesterday.
started yesterday, that's right. Okay, never mind.
But, yeah, he did,
Yeah.
after you guys interviewed him every Tuesday, he worked Tuesday, then he worked Wednesday and Friday on his own time to learn the
Yes.
truck, so
Right.
that says something about him.
Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other new employees? Okay. Seeing none, we now will have comments from the public. If you could come down, state your name, your address, and then you have 4 minutes to say whatever you'd like. It is now open. Okay. And you both can come down if you both want. Yeah, that's fine. You state both your names. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Karen Gummity. I live at 92 Rock Forge Lane, Morgantown, West Virginia.
And my name is Patricia Toothman. I live at 517 Michigan Avenue in Westover.
We're here today to speak about the experience we had at the 4-H Camp Pavilion this past weekend. We've had our family reunion every Sunday before Labor Day for 72 years, and about 30 years at the 4-H camp. My cousin Pat here is going to speak about some of the problems that we encountered.
First of all, I had a difficult time getting somebody to call me back in order to reserve the pavilion for our reunion. I have to tell you that when Brenda Davis was working out there, there was never an issue with anything at all. I'm really sorry that she's gone because she did a wonderful job. As I said, I couldn't get anybody to call me back regarding reserving the pavilion. We reserved the pavilion that is just across from the swimming pool, the one that we pay $165 to reserve. We get that because we have a lot of older people there, and we like having the restrooms inside the pavilion. Well, I'm usually the first one out there to set up for the reunion, and I was again this year. When I went there, first of all, the benches were filthy dirty. I had to clean all the benches and all the tables so that we could put down our tablecloths and have people sit on them to be satisfactory. That wasn't the biggest issue. Our biggest issue was with the restrooms. In the women's restroom, it did not look like it had been cleaned. The door wouldn't lock. There were no paper towels in there. But there was toilet paper. In the men's restroom, it was horrible, a horrible, horrible experience. The toilet didn't look like it had been flushed. And when I did, and I don't want to gross anybody out, but when I did, it like started flooding over. I had to clean that bathroom, and all afternoon it was just a terrible, terrible situation. Everybody was complaining about the smell, the condition of the bathroom, and there were no paper towels in the bathroom. I just feel like something needs to be done because I don't know if we're the only ones that have had issues, but like she said, we've rented pavilions out there for 30 years. And I just felt like this was just the most deplorable of all things. A lot of our people that come are elderly. We have 95, 96-year-old people that come. And you can't expect them to sit around and stand around in conditions like that. I mean, and if they need to use the restroom, they need to have something that's acceptable to them to use. Go ahead.
And another thing about the garbage, we were told that, let's say there was 2 garbage cans and each one of them had a liner. Well, 2 big garbage can doesn't hold much. There was no extra liners to put back in the cans when we got those filled. And then we had to drag them, however we could get them, I mean, we're older, to the dumpster. Couldn't leave them there, we had to take them to the dumpster.
Anything else?
No, I just feel like if you're paying that much to rent a pavilion, you deserve just a little bit more than what we've been getting. And we even want to consider renting again for next year, but possibly in a different venue. I guess they have like a dining hall or something that they've remodeled, and we have even thought about maybe considering something like that, because we're really unhappy with that pavilion. But we hate to change it because we have lots of people come from out of town. We get people from California, Utah, Nevada. I mean, we have a lot of people that come to our family reunions every year. And if they don't happen to get their invitation and we move our reunion, that's not going to be very kind to them.
Okay.
I just
Thank you.
think that something needs to be done about who's taking care of that pavilion. It probably would have taken them 10 or 15 minutes to come down, check it out, and make sure that everything was acceptable.
Thank you. We will address that
Thank you.
situation. We just can't respond at this time.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's someone else. Good morning.
My name is Ed Warnick. I live at 2007 Magnolia Drive, which is off of Morgan Hill Road, Cheat Lake area. Since the 4-minute limit is there, I have put my comments in writing and will try to read them. I will attempt to not be too verbose and at the same time pedestrian, but we are here today to express some serious concerns pertaining to the conditions and safety of Sunset Beach and Morgan Hill roads that are located in the Cheat Lake area of the Union District. The Commission does have a more extensive letter we sent to you addressing our concerns. That letter having been signed by myself, Mike Lutman, Sean Goodwin, Dan Griffin, Matt D'Angelo, Steve Calvert, Don Nealon, Marshall Bishop, and James Estep. These roads are from the 1800s. They are severely undersized and are being utilized on a daily basis by 10 homeowner associations. On any given day, there are probably 3,000 or 4,000 vehicles being driven on these 2 roads from over 1,000 homes. The Union District is the highest per capita income district in the state of West Virginia. Our district contributed close to $9 million to the tax base in Monongalia County last year. I assure you that we're also contributing quite handsomely to the West Virginia income kitty, tax base kitty. Accidents on these roads are quite common, with utility poles being sheared off. There are ditches along these two roads that range from 18 inches to 5 feet with undercuts. Approximately 1.1 mile of the 1.2 miles of Sunset Beach Road is a single lane. Morgan Hill is not much better. School buses are running on these unsafe roads. I recently spoke to the Mon County Board Transportation Director, and he indicated he would provide the commission with a letter addressing his concerns. We are not coming to you with rancor or malice. However, we are coming to you to solicit your support in helping us solve these problems, which have grown to an acute level. Something must be done to remedy the situation for human safety and the maintaining of property values. We applaud the Commission's effort to move forward in new economic paradigm with West Ridge, Bass Pro Shops, Menards, and Leidos. Economic growth and innovation brings with it people, families, homes, and the need for ancillary services. If we do not give attention to the quality of residential development, I believe economic development will be retarded and probably fail. In January of 2019, I and a group of representatives from several home associations met with Darby Clayton, District 4 engineer, as well as Dave Kramer from the Office of Secretary of Transportation, that time being Tom Smith. To make a long story short, we were told that if we would analyze the conditions and the geography of Sunset Beach and Morgan Hill roads, the state would move forward in addressing and trying to help us with the problems. We agreed, and we spent over 100 hours doing a comprehensive analysis, not to mention a considerable expense via Potesta Engineering. The report was submitted to Mr. Clayton, who moved it to Mr. White, the new Secretary of Transportation. We've been told after all this work, there are no plans to do anything with Sunset Beach Road and Morgan Hill roads. That simply is sad and unacceptable. Our communities are traveling on single-lane roads to ingress and egress homes that have a top range of $3 million. I again applaud your attention to economic growth, but you cannot forget about the infrastructure of our residential areas. Home associations and their owners pay high dues to maintain their communities for resurfacing roads, installing lights, snow plowing, providing storm drainage systems, and on and on. Where would Mon County be without the homeowner associations? Sunset Beach. Yes. Sunset
right.
Beach and Morgan Hill roads are not our responsibilities. We are asking for your help in being the ombudsman for the Union District, and let Mr. White and Mr. Justice know we deserve some attention. Several months ago, 4 homes were flooded on Sunset Beach Road because of the lack of storm drainage systems. Yes, homeowner associations are responsible for their own infrastructure and storm drainage systems. However, where would an association tap to move their water to and drainage off their roads? I have a gentleman with me today I'd like to introduce before I sit down.
Sure.
Sean Goodwin. Sean is president of the Greystone Homeowners Association. The other members of the committee and members that signed that letter that we sent to you are either getting married or moving on to higher grounds. So we appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Would he like to speak also?
Yeah, he's more than welcome. Would you like to speak?
Okay.
Okay.
I brought some documents if you want to see them.
Okay. Yeah, we'll wait till the end of public portion to make it, yeah. Okay. Is there anyone else wanting to speak? I saw you, Mayor. No one? Okay. Seeing none, we will close the public portion. Okay, hold on. Okay. Okay, we now have Amy Hedrick, Superintendent of Chestnut Ridge Park, update on projects.
Yes.
And I will say exciting news.
I have some pictures for y'all.
Okay. Thank you.
So what I'm passing out is a
picture of our current main playground.
Here, Amy, could you give that to me? Right there. He's AJR, so he can see, so he knows what we're talking about. Thank you.
So, I guess I should start by saying that this is how we would like to spend the levy money allocated to Chestnut Ridge Park from the 2016 Parks and Trails levy. So the first page is our current playground. Next to the Feather Lake, next to the park store and office. It's the main one that's used in the main area. A lot of people tent camp. They want specifically the area next to that so they can watch their kids play in that playground. It's definitely getting faded, it's definitely worn, and it's definitely too small, especially for the number of school field trips and daycares and homeschool groups that come specifically for the park. So the next page is what I would like to replace it with. So we have a slightly larger playground, we have a large climbing net. There's a lot more climbing and more physical structures on this, and then plus it just fits the character of a park. It's made out of cedar wood, and just has a much more natural feel than plastic and steel. And then as a former educator, the climbing thing is really, really important to me because climbing as a preschooler is the number one thing that you can do to have your child increase their math skills and math abilities for the brain development. So that quote comes in at about $25,000. We would need to also resurface, add larger surfacing area, which is essentially sand. We do need to pull out the old landscaping timbers as the boundaries because they're quite rotten. So that would be an added cost to that, but the playground, is definitely something I feel is required for the park. And then moving on, I inherited from Kat the idea of putting a conveyor belt on our sledding hill to help those that aren't quite able to climb up the hill to sled in the winter. It turns out that the conveyor belt type system doesn't really match our hill. So we moved over to a tow cable system where you sit on your sled and you hang onto the cables, and that pulls up, and that's quite a lot less expensive. And so I came up with the idea of also adding a snow machine. There are snow machines out there that are almost standalone units. You have the snow machine on a trailer with a generator, and all you really have to do is hook it up to the pump for the water source. And so we could make our own snow. The trailer allows us to move it down the hill as well. So we don't need the leveling and the smoothing equipment. And then I looked into the number of days that we rented sleds last winter, and it was 20 days. This would definitely increase the number of days that people could come out to the park and sled. So the Snowmaker with the generator comes to very conservatively, looking at different companies, $175,000. And then the lift also fairly conservatively comes into about $50,000. So the total for both of these things, I'm doing 30 for the playground because of the resurfacing, and then 175. So what's that? $215,000, which is well below our allocations from the levy money. Anything else?
Yeah. Would you also like to explain, Mr. Doyle? I asked Mr. Doyle to come out to have a meeting because there was some question about the power. And if you want to also explain it,
Yeah.
and who you also called the fire
Fire marshal.
marshal. So yeah.
So the lift that they were looking at took three-phase power, and three-phase was clear on top of the hill. So it was gonna cost about $150,000 to $175,000 just to get three-phase down there, not even counting the equipment. So we talked to the fire marshal, and the snowmaking machine has a 3-phase generator on it that he said we can mechanically ground that, and we can run the pull rope off of that. And that's also what runs your snowmaking machine. And that can be utilized at 3 or 4 or 5 different places. I mean, it can be at any park, or, you know, I'm sure Tom would want to have something on a courthouse square this winter with snow, so we could put snow on it. It's going to melt off too fast, though, so.
Yeah. But we could, portable, it could go to any of the parks if you wanted to have like a small little snow area for the kids. So it's a great option, and I have to give Amy an enormous credit on coming up with this idea and the program. And it's one half the price.
Yeah,
It's one half the price of what we were looking at.
yeah.
Might
If
be
you, if
able
you
to
include the need to move the power, grade the hill,
Right.
all that other stuff, it's yeah.
And the key
half to
was
a
that the
third of the
fire
price.
marshal had to approve it, and we did get the approval there. Basically, so if anyone asked, you cannot run the snow machine at the same time as the tow. He said that's the only.
Nor would you want to.
Yeah, but that was the agreement. But did anyone want to have a
Given a
question?
water supply, it also might be able to be used, what the city of Morgantown does with its little snowboarding event that
Yeah.
they have, that's not on Courthouse Square, and just have to have the adequate water supply.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's
You
what
would
we
have
were
to have a
thinking
water
about.
supply wherever you used it.
Yeah,
but,
since the
um,
city of Morgantown, that, it'd be something we could look at, or Main Street Morgantown might be interested in. Yes. Sean, do you have any?
No, thank you, Amy, for bringing, I'm assuming that this is going to be discussed further.
Yes. We just wanted to bring it to you all first, so we can then start the process. And if you had any questions or concerns, but I know you've always wanted an
Yeah,
update
before
where
you
our
put it
funds
up
are
for bid.
going. So we wanted to make sure we didn't have any problems.
Also talked to 2 suppliers that said that
Oh.
it can be just like a plug and play. It'll have a receptacle on it.
Right.
It doesn't have to be hardwired every time that
Oh,
you go to
good.
use it.
Which was part of our
Yeah.
concern. So it was just exciting news, and we thought that, we finally got some information about the next step, and we just wanted you to have that information, and then we're gonna move forward in discussing, and also Mr. Doyle will be involved because we wanna make sure we don't electrocute anybody. But we wanted you aware of it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Amy.
Yeah, great. Okay, we have Colleen Kuhn with grants. No, sir, we have no grants. Do we have any correspondence?
No.
No correspondence. Do we have any unfinished business?
Nope.
Okay. New business, to consider funding request for the Route 2 I-68 Authority. And do you want to just explain what, yeah. Well,
Want to explain?
well, just basically, the request was for
$3,000.
Was for $3,000.
Which would be every county's that's participating.
Correct.
Share.
Yeah.
So I'd move that we approve the request.
Second?
Properly moved in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It passes. Okay, do we have any other new business?
No, sir.
Do we have any reports from elected officials? Okay, we'll move forward. Reports of county commissioners, and if you wanted to speak about what was addressed, you may also bring that up. Ed, you want to go first?
Sure. I will go ahead, I am on the 4-H camp board, so I will look into what transpired at the camp. Also, we do understand the concern for roads in Montague County. That's part of the reason for looking toward our new subdivision regulations that might be in the future able to address a lot of these drainage and road issues. We will see that the state is made aware of what is going on. I do live in Union District, of course, and I do represent the Eastern District as well. So I know exactly what has happened there. It is a concern that, quite frankly, came about because farm roads were used as development roads. They were never meant to be anything to go from one farm to the next farm. And that's exactly what they were until the farms were bought up, the development was done, and the development a lot of times provided not as adequate a road and drainage system. So we will look into that. Friday, I did the walkthrough through the 4-H and the Extension Center. I did represent Commission at Dr. Gee's reception for the opening game and attended the game in his box, and I thank him and WVU. We did have to pay for my tickets. You don't get a free ticket. You get an invitation, but you don't get a ticket. Labor Day, I spent in the Free State of Preston in Rollsburg as a volunteer at a food concession stand. My brother's on the park systems up there, so I had a very good time up there and got to see a lot of people from Mon County as well, so it was really good. Tuesday, we attended the 4-H and Extension Center weekly meeting, and lastly, I do hope to visit my son, but he happens to be in the path of Hurricane Dorian in Charleston, South Carolina, and I'm supposed to fly out on Friday, and so we shall see.
Thank you.
Since the last meetings I've had, last Thursday I had breakfast with Joe Statler and the Board of Education president. Friday I had a wedding in upstate New York, so I was out of town for the weekend. Hope everybody enjoyed their Labor Day weekend. Tuesday we had our extension building meeting, and things are really ramping up in regards to our target of getting that building occupied by October. So we're actually meeting with Mylan Park today, and we'll have the full commission will get an update on the building and kind of work through a lot of issues that we have, that are as they are coming up. Tomorrow I have my Morgantown Area Partnership Executive Committee meeting in the morning, and then Friday we have our extension walkthrough. In regards to the public comment section, I hear your comments regarding Camp Muffley, and we will certainly address those and look into them. They're not acceptable, and we will certainly look at it. Also, in regards to the Cheat Lake Roads discussion, that's one of the things we have the least power to do anything about is the roads. But we do have the power to at least bring it to their attention and raise that issue, and we will certainly be that carrier for your concerns. So I look forward to looking at the full information that you have provided and working with DOH to the extent that we can get them to listen to resolve that issue, or at least get a plan going forward. So it does bode well with, it doesn't help your issue right now, but as far as how we manage growth in this county going forward, we will be having some extensive, we'll have a lot of conversations regarding our land use ordinances that will be coming up for a vote in front of the commission. So that doesn't solve your problem, but it does look at the problem going forward and trying to make sure that we're building for the future and not just for current needs. So that's all.
Thank you. First, I've known Karen for years, and I can tell you, Karen, that I know Ed will immediately get on this. This is his camp that he really wants to make sure it promotes well, and I hope you don't reconsider making a decision until we work and look at this, and we will get back to you on that. We hope that you would come back next year, too, so we definitely will work on that. I do want to thank Mr. Hawkins. He contacted me Mr. Hawkins, Mr. Warnick, 2 weeks ago. I asked for him to send a letter, which he did, and he's been extremely professional and wanted our help. I did send immediately your letter to Mr. Bird White. I will give you the response I just got back from him, but it's just a beginning response. As to the problems in the Sunset Beach area, we are looking at that after Don Nealon brought it to my attention a couple of weeks ago. A number of these roads do not belong to the West Virginia DOH, and there are a number of right-of-way issues in this area. As soon as we have a better idea of solutions, we will be in contact with you. This was sent to me. We will make sure that we will verify that you came in again, you asked, and I know the media is here, so we will not let this go. What we have learned is Mr. White has been excellent on communications. We've had big breakdowns in the past, and we are trying to work on communications between the state and the local DOH. There seems to be some breakdown there, so we are going to work on that, and so I did want you to be aware of that. The final thing, speaking that you were talking about DOH, I am the representative from the county for the local government pedestrian group. We met again 10 days ago, and we were waiting for a response. I received a phone call from WVU in the city of Morgantown that nothing was happening, so I was permitted to then make my statement. And this is how I want to say it. As part of the local governmental pedestrian group, we have slowly started to deal with dangerous intersections and improve them. The 3 intersections inside the city were improved with the help of the city, WVU, and the county working together. We have now asked the state to work with us on several intersections on Patterson Drive. The other sections, and these are that we completed, were not state routes. The one intersection that we wanted to discuss immediately has already had 1 death and 1 injury this year. That is Patterson Drive and Morrell Street. However, the state has not responded to any of our phone calls or concerns. They have completely ignored our requests, our phone calls, our emails. Our local DOH is not able to respond until they get permission and direction from the state level. At the county commission today, and this is what I was going to say, I will be requesting the governor and the secretary of transportation to help organize a meeting so we can discuss this dangerous intersection. And I'm pleased to say that since this came out, we received a phone call about a half hour ago, an hour ago, and they are now going to meet with us on this area that we've been trying to meet for 4 weeks on. On another issue, I do want to say that I've requested and I've sent the information to the other county commissioners for the past 4 weeks, a list of all roads that have been repaired and repaved by the DOH. I have not received any lists, but I did receive an email that said, please go to the transparency map. We need to work together to solve these problems, and one of the ideas we were planning on doing is once we got this list, I asked Mr. Mike Paul and use his GIS staffing to find out exactly what roads were completed so we know which roads are done and which roads to move forward on. It is key that we have communication, and hopefully after 4 weeks of writing letters, maybe we will finally get some sort of answer on this. The problem is the map is wonderful to tell us where they may be working. It doesn't say what has been done or completed, and that's the problem. So with that, I have nothing else.
Move to adjourn.
Second?
Proper move to adjourn. We be out of here.